Conservative-minded. This is AM 1100 and 92.3 FM, WZFG, Dilworth, Fargo, Moorhead, USA. It's 4 o'clock.
From the WDAY News Center, this is Ty Schoenert, and it's time for your Flag News Update. WDAY Radio has now learned the identity of a man hit and killed in a crash along the off-ramp on I-94 late Wednesday afternoon. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says 39-year-old Lucas Azura was the man killed after a car driven by Shondi Cordner slammed into the back of a car being pulled on a dolly driven by Don Keplin, who also suffered serious injuries from the crash. Azura and Keplin both were taken via ambulance to Stanford Hospital, where Azura was pronounced dead. To this point, the FM Metro hasn't had many mosquitoes to deal with.
I've heard some reports up north in Grand Forks area and Polk counties up in Minnesota. Things have been a little spicier there, but within the metro area and kind of the points around us, things have been, pretty tame. But it is a time of year, and, that's life, I guess.
Cass County Vector Control Director Ben Prather telling WDAY's Bonnie and Friends, despite some inactivity, his crews have been out tending to standing water nearby already and have executed several hundred rounds of surveillance and spraying. And over 18,000 votes have already been cast ahead of the June 14th election in North Dakota. Secretary of State Al Jagger says more than 3,200 absentee ballot votes and over 15,000 vote-by-mail ballots have been returned. The total means just over 43% of voters eligible to do so early in the state have cast their ballots already. This is Ty Schoenert with The Flag and AM 1100theflag.com. First at the news when you need to know.
Hello, my name is Blake Hankey and I am running for district judge. I've been an attorney for 18 years, litigated thousands of cases in a variety of practice areas. I love this community and being involved. I'm a 1994 graduate of Fargo South High School, a youth hockey coach for the Fargo Youth Hockey Association, and the current mayor of Harwood. My family and I would appreciate your vote on June 14th. For more information, please visit hankeyforjudge.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Blake Hankey.
A presidential pep talk. Lisa Brady, Fox News. With inflation still near a 40-year high.
There's no denying that high prices, particularly around gasoline and food, are a real problem for people.
But President Biden says Americans can feel confident because of the progress made under his plans.
We've laid an economic foundation that's historically strong. And now we're moving forward to a new moment where we can build on that foundation.
He's also still putting much of the inflation blame on Russia's president over the war in Ukraine, while Republicans blame President Biden's policies. The president spoke after the jobs report, 390,000 created in May, better than most economists expected, and that has Wall Street worried again about the Fed's inflation-fighting plans. The Dow dropping 348 points, oil prices topping $120 a barrel as gas prices hit a new record, $4.76 a gallon. A former Trump White House advisor comes out swinging after being indicted for contempt of Congress.
Congress has weaponized the investigatory powers of Congress in a way which is unconstitutional.
Peter Navarro was held in contempt for failing to comply with a subpoena in a House committee's probe of the Capitol riot.
Their clear mission is to prevent Donald John Trump from running for president in 2024 and being elected.
He's already suing the House over that investigation. A man from Florida accused of threatening to kill Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is now in custody, an arrest that's prompted a federal indictment to be unsealed, detailing a series of menacing social media posts, including sarcastic references to the Second Amendment and threats to destroy Boebert's face in front of her kids. Boebert has been an outspoken supporter of gun rights. Matthew Lee Comiskey of Palm Beach County now facing 5 counts of interstate threat. America is listening to Fox News.
School's out for summer, but if your business is running QuickBooks, you'll never get a break. Their manual processes and delays will leave you scrambling. Graduate to NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. No matter how big your business grows, with NetSuite, you gain visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more, just like 93% of surveyed businesses who already graduated. NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program. Head to netsuite.com/today.
Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because our Sleep Number 360 smart bed is really smart. It senses your movement and automatically adjusts to help keep you both comfortable. Plus, it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. It's even smart enough to know exactly how long, how well, and when you slept, and to help you get almost 30 minutes more restful sleep per night. Sleep Number takes care of the science. All you have to do is sleep. Save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed Queen now only $19.99, plus free premium home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
We'll have partly cloudy skies this evening with pleasant temperatures near 70, dropping off into the 60s after sunset, leading to an overnight low under clear skies of 46 with light winds out of the southwest. For your weekend, Saturday looking nice, partly cloudy skies, highs in the low to mid 70s. A few more clouds around on Sunday with highs in the mid 60s. Chance for a few light sprinkles in the far southern valley. Then sun returns for the start of next week. From the Flag Sky Watch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. Today's weather is brought to you by Summit Carbon Solutions. The ethanol industry is critical for the North Dakota economy and our farmers. Summit Carbon Solutions is opening new economic opportunities for ethanol producers and helping maintain a strong market for corn growers while generating millions of dollars in new property taxes to help local communities support our schools and hospitals. Visit summitcarbonsolutions.com to learn how this project is driving the future of agriculture in North Dakota.
One more time, got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate and dance so free. One more time, this got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate.
The Chris Berg Show, where faith and freedom reign.
One more time.
Big discussion question for you today. We're going to get to you in just a moment on a Feel Good Friday. I've got some breaking news for you as well. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. We're coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America feel better. Here's the breaking news I've got just a couple moments ago from my friend Nate. But this is the headline. So back to this Uvalde shooting, but the police chief apparently had no radio during this school shooting. So I want to read for you just quickly some details from an article about what took place. And then we're going to dive into, I think, a very important question about, I'm going to ask you to think outside the box today. How do we completely eradicate school shootings? Like, never happens again kind of conversation. I'm going to ask you to call in, share your point of view. A lot of people responding to that question on our social media channels as well. But here's quickly some breaking news that just came out moments ago. But the state agency that's investigating the mass shooting at the elementary school in Uvalde has determined that the commander facing criticism for the slow police response was not carrying a radio as the shooting unfolded. Senator Roland Gutierrez told the Associated Press in a brief telephone interview that a Texas Department of Public Safety official told him School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo was without his radio during the May 24th attack. We all know, obviously, what took place there, but authorities have not said how Arredondo was communicating with other law enforcement officials at the scene. So he's got no radio, apparently somehow communicating with other law enforcement officials, and we don't know how at this point, which included more than a dozen officers who were at one point waiting outside the classroom where the gunman was holed up. As we all know, Arredondo heads the district's small department and was in charge of the agency. It goes on to say here real quickly, which I think is important. So Gutierrez, the senator who represents Uvalde, complained Thursday that Arredondo was not informed of the panicked 911 calls coming from the students trapped inside the classroom where the gunman had been holed up. This person goes on to call it a system failure. So I think many of us presume, and again, I've never been, trained in police strategies, police tactics. This is why I think this information is so important, because there's just so many bizarre things about what took place in Uvalde. But this article goes on to say police radios are a crucial source of real-time communication during an emergency. And according to experts, often how information from 911 calls is relayed to officers on the ground. It's unclear who at the scene was aware of the calls. Uvalde police did not respond to questions about the calls on Thursday. So here you've got the person that's sort of running the show in Uvalde without any sort of radio to communicate to his officers. You've got 911 calls coming in from kids inside the classroom. We don't know if that was communicated at all. If so, how was it communicated to the officers? And thus reminding you that you had roughly 15, 16 officers sitting outside the classroom as the shooter was holed up in there We don't know how many students were lost because of the inaction of those law enforcement officers. Hopefully, the investigation is going to reveal that. At this point, we do not have that answer. Here's our question for the day on a Feel Good Friday. I want to say thank you very much to Giving Hearts Day over at Dakota Medical Foundation for sponsoring our Feel Good Friday. We got a special guest coming up later on in the show to talk about the great things they're doing in our community. But I want you to call into the show. You can also email us as well, thanks to Red Wing Shoes. The number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. You can email us, studio@chrisbergshow.com. Again, studio@chrisbergshow.com. So I'm going to invite you today, come up with any answer you want. If you want to think outside the box, I'm going to encourage you to do that right now. The question is this: how do you and I completely eradicate school shootings from ever happening again? How could you and I completely eradicate school shootings from ever happening again here in our great nation? So that's the question. Again, the number is 701-271-1100. And I'm going to pose it this way. When you look at, and I've also got the question up on Twitter, Facebook, if you want to go there and join the conversation there, you can do that as well. But before I get to my idea of a potential solution, think about it for a moment. And we are going to get to Joe Biden's "I want to take your guns away" talk from last night in a moment. We will get through the analysis on that here in just a few moments. But when you look at kind of the common denominator of most of these people that are going out and doing these mass shootings, I mean, you can look at Buffalo, Uvalde, Sandy Hook, you can go on and on down the list. If you think about it for a moment, what's one of the most common denominators that you see in many of these young men that are going out and doing these just absolutely horrific, violent shootings? If you do your research on these people, one of the most common things that you find is the fact that many of these young men come from broken homes, didn't have fathers in their lives. So you've got this broken family that attributes very often to what's going on with these people having different challenges, different mental health issues, whatever it may be. But oftentimes, I would say by far most of the time, there's some sort of broken familial situation happening there. I mean, you can just look at the incarceration rates across the nation. And if you do your homework on that, the number of young men that are incarcerated that come from fatherless homes is absolutely staggering. It's staggering. So, if you were going to completely eradicate school shootings in our nation, how would you go about doing that? We've got a bunch of answers. I'm going to share some with you on Facebook, on Twitter, and then I'm going to pose to you an outside the box way of looking at this that could actually begin to unite families, raise the level of education, and do the things that many of us, I think, presume the education system is about. And that is to obviously teach our kids to become well educated and be productive citizens within our nation, within our society. So here on Facebook, a lot of people responding. David says, "Hey, protect our kids the same way we protect the politicians and celebrities." Again, the question of the day that I asked on social media and asking you today is, how could you and I completely eradicate school shootings here in the United States of America? Haley goes on to say, train teachers. They want to be trained. I don't believe they should be forced to, but if they want to, train them, hire guards, go about basically, hardening the schools, right? That's a big conversation right now that you hear from Mitch McConnell, many of the Republicans is, hey, if we could just harden these schools, maybe that would have a tremendous impact on keeping these people out of the schools, especially since, as we know, schools are predominantly gun-free zones, right? By the way, one of the things we brought up earlier this week, do you know how much money we spent for schools via COVID so we could change the ventilation systems and do different things to clean the air? We dropped $190 billion to the school systems across our nation to change ventilation systems from a silent, invisible enemy. How much money federally has been spent to harden schools? I don't have the answer to that, but I think it'd be fascinating to see. They keep talking about this big conversation to take away your Second Amendment rights, and yet how much money has actually been invested in our schools to harden the schools to protect our young kids in a gun-free zone. Carmel says this, hey, Dan Bongino devoted part of his show to this on 5/29. She goes on to talk about the podcast. He speaks with a fellow Secret Service agent about how to protect schools and prevent another tragedy. Such things as a man trap, captured entrance. I'm sure many of you have seen those. They've got these like man traps now. Someone gets through the first door, a secretary can stop them from getting through the second door. So that's one of the ideas, again, to really harden the schools, is to put these man traps in, maybe have multiple doors that people have got to get through. Denise says remove schools from the gun-free zone for starters. What else do we have here? If you want to call into the show, the number 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. Michelle says that she had a guest on a podcast about teachers taking defense classes to protect their classroom of students. Teachers should be allowed to have the option to take conceal and carry classes to protect their students. Some people obviously talking about mental health, things of that nature. JD says, hey, arm and train teachers and staff who are willing to hire more SROs, make our schools hard targets. I think all these things are valid, maybe suggestions, ideas. Got another one that comes in that says, hey, Mr. Berg, the only way to end school shootings is to, whoa, okay. We're not even going to read that one out loud, but otherwise there's always going to be evil and mentally ill people on our planet. So that's one way of looking at it. One thing I want to propose to you today is this. Think about what could you and I do right now as a nation that would completely eradicate school shootings forever. And not only that, but also strengthen our education system so that we are producing outstanding young men and women that will be very, very productive in our society. And I say that because of this. When you just look at the data, one of the key contributors to people having healthy relationships, building financial wealth, financial freedom, is that, like, if you read the book, for example, Millionaire Next Door, most often millionaires get married one time in their lives and that's it. And they stay married forever. So here's an option I want to share with you. And if you want to call into the show, I'd love to get your point of view on it. Again, 701-271-1100. But one thing I would love to see our nation propose is more school choice, to the point where we are actually beginning to subsidize, pay, offer opportunities for families to do, wait for it, homeschooling. Imagine for a moment if we actually got honed in and focused on homeschooling, empowered parents and families to do an outstanding job where you could work in like small cohorts. You could find out, like right now with technology, you could find an outstanding math teacher, like the best math teacher on the planet, have them, come into your house virtually, or your little cohort that you want to put together virtually. They can teach math, and then you go off by yourself and then begin to teach your son or daughter maybe the ins and outs of that certain math class. Think about it for a moment. If you started to actually subsidize, contribute, tax breaks, I don't care how we do it. But if we took away some of the financial stress of families so parents could actually spend more times with their kids, help them through the education process, imagine the kind of young people that we could actually produce in our society if we focused on teaching people, educating people to their strengths. Now we've eradicated school shootings, right? They're only going to go after your Second Amendment rights because of what's happening within the schools. And when I get into Joe Biden from last night, I mean, what was shocking to me is he actually starts laying out and talking about schools. And I hate to use this language because it's so egregious to me. It's such hyperbole. But when he starts talking about schools and parks and malls as killing fields, you're the president of the United States. You don't need to use that kind of language as the president of the United States about schools and parks and shopping malls. So when we come back, love to take your phone calls. We get to some of that analysis as well, and get your thoughts on, should we be doing more to motivate, incentivize homeschooling across our great nation. You can email us again, thanks to Red Wing Shoes. If you're someone that is out there working hard in a blue-collar job, check out redwingshoes.com. Again, that's redwingshoes.com. Much more coming up right after this.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better.
PetroServe USA.
Call today.
The commission.
Have you heard the big news? Greta Van Susteren is back. She's joining Newsmax as host of their new show, The Record, with Greta Van Susteren. Starting June 14th, Greta reports on the big stories from Washington, giving you the facts you need to know. Greta is smart. She asks the tough questions, and she's always fair. Greta is journalism the way it ought to be. That's why I made the switch to Newsmax, like millions of others. Make the switch, and now you can watch Greta Van Susteren. Get info about her new show by texting the word Greta to 39747, or go to gretaisback.com. That is gretaisback.com. Make the switch today to Newsmax, America's fastest growing cable news channel, and get the latest on Greta's new show by texting Greta to 39747. Newsmax, real news for real people. I watch it all the time, and you should too.
Hi, everyone. This is Jake Dahl with OnSharp. I'm here today with one of our clients, Caden Coleman of SIFTech. Tell us a little bit about SIFTech and what SIFTech does.
SIFTech is an app that allows you to snap, save, and sift through any of your receipts or documents that you've uploaded.
Would you recommend OnSharp to other companies who are in need of app development?
Yes, I definitely would. They will back you 110% and they will get it right.
Thanks, Caden. And if anyone out there is looking for an app to sort and store their documents, please check out SIFTech. If you are in need of app development, please check out onsharp.com/apps.
Veteran and locally owned since 1932, Action Movers is North Dakota's largest and oldest mover. Whether you're moving across the street or across country, Action Movers will make your move easy by handling every detail from start to finish. From packing, loading, transporting, storage, or even do-it-yourself with a Go Mini container delivered to your driveway, they truly have every solution for your move, accommodating all budgets. Get a moving quote today and mention Scott to save 10%. Call them at 701-566-5532 or visit actionmovers.com to set your appointment.
White or wheat, classic or old-fashioned, with or without sesame seeds. With so many choices, selecting the right bun for your perfectly grilled burgers, hot dogs, and brats can seem overwhelming. Relax. The bakers at Village Hearth have made your choice easy. With state-of-the-art bakeries and facilities throughout the Midwest, our buns are baked and delivered by folks just like you. So when you see the familiar red Village Hearth logo on the package, you'll be selecting the freshest, most flavorful buns available. Village Hearth buns, baked locally, delivered fresh daily.
Yeah, a little Heavy D and the boys here on a Feel Good Friday. Thank you to Giving Hearts Day, Dakota Medical Foundation. I got nothing but love for you, baby. I love me some Heavy D right there. So thank you, producer Spencer, for that. If you want to call into the show, we're talking about how could we completely eradicate school shootings in America? I just gave you one idea for a potential solution, but how could we completely eradicate school shootings in America? We got an email in earlier. I didn't want to read about ending all human life, so I didn't read that part. And the person sent an email back and goes, "Hey, thank you for censoring my email." You know what? Anyways, just want to let you know. Let's get to some phone calls that have been coming in as well. The number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. What could we do to eradicate school shootings here in America? Let's go to Cyrus on line one. Cyrus, welcome to the show. What's your point of view?
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, I want to thank you and all the other conservatives out there, and especially on the air. I've written down a couple of simple steps I think that could help save lives. If you'll bear with me, things that can be done now to help prevent the deaths in a school attacked by an attacker against children. Number one would be of the blackout system. So many of the classrooms do not have windows, and then there's the rooms that do have windows. But a blackout system, meaning anytime there's a problem, if you can hit that switch and everything goes dark, that's a great neutralizer. If you ever saw the movie Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn, the kids, if they're trained to drop to the floor or whatever, and they can hide. The rooms, I think the shooter doesn't want a room with a lot of windows because the sniper can pick them out. So it's those rooms, they go to the things like the library. Well, the electrician can change it where you can flip that switch and go dark, and the situation's neutralized. But okay. Number two, all classrooms need a second doorway. Any wildlife that you're working with, you corner them, they get pretty vicious. They go on a defense. Well, one school shooter's doing it probably because he's heard of other school shootings.
Yeah.
So they know it's a safe, gun safe zone or whatever you call it, and they can corner these kids. Well, the second door isn't. If it saves one life, it's worth it, and it's something that can be installed or certainly designed. Quickly, number three is one-way glass. One-way glass allows the police to see in from a different, I'm talking once they get into the building. Also, whether you cut a corner off of a classroom and put in that closet that has one-way glass, you could get two classes done at one time, and certainly monitor what's going on. And there's other things that happen in the school that parents don't know of, and so it isn't like it's violating privacy. Quickly, number four would be we have sprinkler systems, but how about a smoke bomb system that, in the military, we use smoke bombs, and one of the things with smoke bombs is to cover movement to make the shooter not know where people are.
Yeah, I think
that would
Cyrus,
be.
I don't mean to cut you short, so we got another caller, and I want a piece I definitely want to play from last night for people that I think is really interesting to take note of. But I think you bring up some really, really valid points, and that's where maybe part of the training comes into place. And so I just want to say thank you for the call here on a Feel Good Friday, and please call back again, okay? Thank you very much. All right, let's go to John on line 2. John, share with us your point of view, sir. And I do want to get to this clip from last night from Joe Biden that I think is going to open some eyes to some people as we've been talking about something. So, John, we're talking about how do we eradicate school shootings here in America? What's your point of view, sir?
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out to people who don't understand the purpose of the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment is there to protect the First. It's to ensure our liberties, it's to ensure our freedoms, and it's to ensure that we have a way of repelling tyranny of any kind, whether it's internal or external. As far as protecting the schools, first of all, there's this anti-gun movement that the left has perpetuated along with the mainstream media that has put a lot of unfounded fears in people's heads. Because first of all, there's no logical reason why teachers can't be armed. Ohio and other states have been doing it now for well over a decade with no incidents whatsoever. It's a matter of proper training. It's a matter of proper vetting. It can be done. There's also any number of National Guardsmen. There's a number of first responders, both active and retired. I have several friends who are retired federal agents who would gladly put in their time on a volunteer basis for a lunch ticket and rotate amongst the schools so you'd never know, just like the Sky Marshals. You would never know what hit you if you tried to attack that school because you would never know who that person was.
Yeah.
And people, they need to get over that and get past it.
Yep. John, thank you very much for the phone call. I appreciate it. Again, number, if you want to call into the show, 271-1100. Again, 271-1100. I want to play something for you quickly here. So I apologize. From President Joe Biden from last night. Now, listen closely to what he says here, because I think what's really key is, if you remember, I played this for you on yesterday's show from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Justin Trudeau is going to frame it that, hey, I'm going to take away your gun rights and it's going to be all for your freedom. So listen closely here from President Joe Biden. This is last night. And then we had on Monday, Justin Trudeau talking about how he was going to take away your ability to buy a handgun.
Years, and this is still a free country. This isn't about taking away anyone's rights. It's about protecting children. It's about protecting families. It's about protecting whole communities. It's about protecting our freedom to go to school, to a grocery store, to a church, without being shot and killed.
It's about freedom. It's about protecting your right to go to a school, a grocery store, a church. That's what President Joe Biden said last night. Now, listen to Justin Trudeau from earlier this week. I believe it was Monday, but here's what he had to say when he said, hey, I'm going to take away your handguns. Here's how Justin Trudeau framed it at the end.
This is about freedom. People should be free to go to the supermarket, their school, or their place of worship without fear. People should be free to go to the park or to a birthday party without worrying about what might happen from a stray bullet. Gun violence is a complex problem, but at the end of the day, the math is really quite simple.
So hopefully you noticed that. I mean, very, very similar conversation. I think one of the things I want to just repeat from yesterday's show is I said, look, when these people get up to the mic, nothing is said by accident. I mean, maybe once in a while they'll slip, but they're very, very intentional with your language. And so when you've got Justin Trudeau framing it to you that, hey, I'm going to take away your ability to defend yourself and your family all in the name of freedom so that you can go to a store or a park or whatnot and not get shot. And then the president of the United States stands up and basically says the same thing. This isn't about taking away your gun rights. This is about freedom. So that people have a freedom to go to school, a freedom to have the right, the freedom to go to a mall or a park. So please pay attention to how this is being framed. And I'm sure you might, if you watched last night's speech, Joe Biden also suggesting that, hey, look, if we don't pass some sort of bill in the Senate that's going to start to chip away at your Second Amendment rights, we know that people are going to get out and vote. And this is going to be a number one driver when it comes to getting out to vote. Not sure if that's going to be correct or not when you look at inflation and what's happening in the economy, which we'll talk about later in the show. But again, we want to get to your phone calls. The number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. Let's go to Bob on line one. Bob, welcome to the show. What's your point of view?
Yeah, hi there, Chris. I believe a lot of it has to do with how anger it seems to be, the media seems to perpetuate anger. Everybody's angry with everyone else. It doesn't seem like people have a way to just, if somebody has a point of view, and my point of view is different from yours. It used to be back in the day that we might have an argument, might go out and throw a few fists, and that would be it. But now what we do is, seems like we go out and we get a gun, and next thing you know, you have a bunch of people getting shot down. I really believe that people need to just realize that, what a great country we have, and that we have an opportunity to voice our opinions. The Constitution was written for a particular reason, to protect our rights. And, there's a lot of good points being made. But when I listen to your program, I'm not angry.
Thank you.
When I listen to some of the other stuff that's on TV, it just seems to make me angry. So I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Bob, thank you for the phone call. Just so you know, I'm very intentional not to go there. I used to go there. Didn't like it. I didn't like who I was becoming, how I was doing it. Look, I understand how the brain works, and people want the dopamine hits because they get angry. And yeah, that's maybe good for viewers, but I think people are tired of that. I don't think anger wins in the end, and this is about doing what's right for our nation. Stick around. We come back. It's Feel Good Friday. Thanks to Giving Hearts Day.
We'll have partly cloudy skies this evening with pleasant temperatures near 70, dropping off into the 60s after sunset, leading to an overnight low under clear skies of 46 with light winds out of the southwest. For your weekend, Saturday looking nice, partly cloudy skies, highs in the low to mid 70s. A few more clouds around on Sunday with highs in the mid 60s. Chance for a few light sprinkles in the far southern valley. Then sun returns for the start of next week. From the Flag Sky Watch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
Hello. My name is Blake Hankey, and I am running for district judge. I've been an attorney for 18 years, litigated thousands of cases in a variety of practice areas. I love this community and being involved. I'm a 1994 graduate of Fargo South High School, a youth hockey coach for the Fargo Youth Hockey Association, and the current mayor of Harwood. My family and I would appreciate your vote on June 14th. For more information, please visit hankeyforjudge.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Blake Hankey.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Now Mike has done it again by introducing his My Slippers. And for a limited time, you will save $90 on a pair of My Slippers. This blowout sale of the year won't last, so order right now. These took over 2 years to develop. The My Slippers are designed to wear indoor or outdoors all day long. Made with MyPillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue. And they're made with quality leather suede. Call 800-506-9028 right now. Use the promo code SCOTT, 800-506-9028, or go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square, and use my promo code SCOTT. Now, this offer will not last long, so remember, order now with your promo code SCOTT at MyPillow.com or call 800-506-9028 right now to save $90 a pair on My Slipper moccasins or slip-ons from MyPillow.
They are detectives, investigators, school resource officers and deputies, state attorneys, jail chaplains, beat cops, and canine handlers. They are the honorees of the Luther Family Ford Salute to Law Enforcement. Everyone at Luther Family Ford says thank you to the men and women who protect and serve our community. They deserve our support, our encouragement, and our thanks. So thank you to all of you who protect and serve us. From Luther Family Ford and AM 1100 The Flag, WZFG.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You can always count on Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Always crisp, always easy drinking, always just right. The perfect balance of flavor and refreshment since 1903. Welcome to the High Life. 2019 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Celebrate responsibly.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth and happiness, we're going to say now. Thanks to our last caller, Bob, saying, hey, you know what, Chris, I listen to you. I don't get angry. And that is, I think, one of the biggest compliments you can give somebody today in this business is, hey, we're going to come here. We're going to talk about real stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about the truth. That is the most important principle here. And ideally, where you get the truth, there's the old saying, obviously, from the good word, get the truth, sets you free, and you can go out there and then live your best life. I think you're going to live your best life if you are living in love and joy and peace and not anger. So yeah, we do not want to be planting seeds of anger here, but rather the seeds of the fruits of the Spirit, if you know the 9 of those in Galatians 5. So we got a very special guest in studio. I want to say thank you to Dakota Medical Foundation and Giving Hearts Day. They always sponsor our Feel Good Friday segment. We got a special guest in studio today that's really making a tremendous impact for a lot of families in our community. We actually had them in on Giving Hearts Day. It was incredible to hear the story. It's Haley's Hope, and Carrie Buchholz is the founder there, and they're doing some great things in the space of dyslexia and the impact it's having on our community. So happy Feel Good Friday. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. I'm just thrilled to be here on a sunny day. So thanks for having me.
It's kind of rare these days,
It is.
isn't it? So let's just chat about, as the founder, what was your inspiration for Haley's Hope and how pervasive is dyslexia in our community?
Well, as we started, it was because of our son Haley, who just wasn't able to start to learn when he went to preschool and kindergarten and first grade, and so much different than his peers and then his older sister. And just, we went for years trying to figure out why this bright little kid wasn't, um, you know, expressing himself in that classroom. And, come to find out, with as little information that was in our community at that time, that he is profoundly dyslexic and severely dysgraphic. And, as a mom going through that hurt every night and every day, sending him into that classroom, it was just something that in my heart and soul, I needed to try and fix and help his heart. And so as I started to get trained on just what even this word is, the truth is that it's 1 in 5, 1 in 5 individuals. So we have thousands of kids in our school systems in the state of North Dakota. We have thousands of adults, young adults in the workforce that have probably not had the remediation that they should, and are not living their best life because of dyslexia.
One of your great ambassadors is Joel Vettel, and he was in on Giving Hearts Day. His story is incredible. If you don't mind, walk us through. I guess I don't want to describe your emotions, but I would presume it was sort of angst because it's invisible, right? Like you're kind of going, wait a second, I can't see this and don't understand it, and it's like trauma. I mean, when people have trauma, you can't see it, and you're trying to go, how do I help? So walk us through the angst you went through and what this journey's been like.
Well, yeah, you don't see it outwardly, but you see it inwardly. And the way that these kids change socially and emotionally early on in their education careers, and early on in their socialness with other kids. And that's really what I started to see is, he started to get some help at school through some early remediation, which, we weren't informed of right away. I think that's pretty, typical that they take them out and try and, help them or build that bridge. But when I started to lose that happy little boy that I knew I had at home, when either he had to go to school or we had to do homework at home, and I couldn't, and it's not about seeing, but I couldn't see or figure out why he wasn't able to learn what I thought was so simple. I mean, everybody knows how to read, right? Why don't you know your letters? And the frustration on my part, trying to force him to do that and thinking, as did a lot of other people, that he was being lazy or he had an attention problem or he wasn't trying, or he's just that little boy and he's going to get over it. He just likes to play and, act up instead of doing his work, when really it was because he didn't know what an M was. He didn't know what the letter I was, that it was a word. And so one night, as we were sitting in his bed again, as we're told to read 20 minutes every night, because that's going to help him. And I got mad at him because he read the word on one page and didn't read it on the next page. And I got mad at him again. And he just looked at me like, I'm sorry, Mom. And it just hit me. And I thought, I have no idea what's going on here, but I know whatever I'm doing and everybody else is trying to do is not working. And that started our journey of, what, we're just going to stop everything until I can figure out how to get him back.
Carrie Buckholtz in studio. She's the founder of what's called Haley's Hope. As you can hear some of her story, works with young people that are dealing with dyslexia. I think one of the most fascinating things when you are a parent and have a son or daughter that may have some different challenges that life brings upon us is that we grow in ways that we never anticipated to grow. So how have you, because I just was talking to a mom today that was going through some challenges with an offspring, and how have you grown as a human and how has it made your character even that much better?
Patience, patience, patience. And I think, I'm not afraid to say that I have to set myself in the grace of God, because that's the only way I could have got through this, or could have had the strength, I think, to try and fight a battle that was in front of our whole family, and that's now in front of our community and our state and our nation, to that sense. But just to believe that what I was doing when I was constantly told this isn't right and this isn't a thing and this is witchcraftery, and that because it was changing people's lives, it's changed our life. It's given me peace, it's given me grace, and it's given me understanding for that each of us are individuals in our own way, whether you can see it or you can't see it. It's that old saying, don't walk in my shoes, or walk in my shoes one day. Um, I think that's really what it's done to me, is just allowed me to be more patient and graceful with people.
Amen to that. I mean, everybody could use some of that right now, right?
Everybody can use some of that.
So what are some signs? Like, if there's parents out there right now, they're going, "Wow, I feel you, Carrie. I get it." Like, what are some signs you can suggest parents should be looking for, and maybe reach out to you to get some help?
Yeah, so I'm going to say parents, one is if you're frustrated and fighting to get homework done at night during the school year, obviously we're out now. I mean, that's not normal. That's not normal. We shouldn't have to, fight so hard to do those things and to force our kids to learn and to read every night. But, some of those warning signs are just, hard time learning those sight words, hard time reading out loud or reading smoothly. I mean, strangely enough, it's, do you have, chronic ear infections? Knowing directions, can the kids tie their shoes when they're in kindergarten or first grade? Have they, have a dominant hand yet? Or are they kind of, ambidextrous left and right? Can they identify letters? Can they say the alphabet? Now, when I say, I don't mean sing. I mean, say the alphabet in the right sequence, and then ask them to print the alphabet in the sequence. Can they create the shapes of those letters?
We've got just about, gosh, I could talk to you for a while, about a minute left or so. How I know Giving Hearts Day does a lot of great things for you, but how can the community support Haley's Hope? Or what are some of your needs right now?
We are so blessed. We have moved and remodeled 8 times in the last 11 years. So we are in the midst of a capital campaign to get our own home, finally, so that we can have some dedicated classrooms, dedicated rooms to grow and expand our programming into summer academies. And we're building a math program. So, and I think really community support is just word of mouth. Talk about things, talk about if you're struggling. As adults out there in the workforce, talk to your supervisors and let them know how hard things are. If you're having to write emails or write things, the more we can talk about it, the better we can all understand and how to get help.
Again, Carrie Buckhold, she's the founder of what's called Haley's Hope. If people want to check out your website, please share that with us.
It is haleyshope.org.
And that's HALEY, right? HALEYSHOPE.org. Haleyshope.org. God bless you. Thanks for being here today. I really appreciate you
Thanks
sharing
so
your
much.
story.
I appreciate it.
And thank you, of course, to Giving Hearts Day as well, and Dakota Medical Foundation for sponsoring our Giving Hearts, our Feel Good Friday, but just what it does for nonprofit organizations as well.
Well, they are why we are here and keep growing. Their support and their programs to help nonprofits is amazing.
Thank you very, very much. So yes, please, thank you to Giving Hearts Day, Pat Trainer, Dakota Medical Foundation, everybody over there, and the great work that they're doing. And you can hear from Carrie. 1 in 5 children, I didn't know that. It's a pretty staggering stat. It's 20% that are dealing with dyslexia. So if you're somebody that's a parent, maybe even a student that's listening in, and you think, gosh, you know what, maybe that's me, give them a shout out at haleyshope.org. All right, when we come back, some interesting things happening in the economy as we head into the weekend. Also, if you want to call into the show, 701-271-1100.
A shot of apple cider vinegar is known to aid in weight loss, promotes digestion, and controlling of blood sugar. But who wants to take a shot of apple cider vinegar daily? No one. That's why Checkable Health is selling apple cider vinegar gummies. All the benefits of apple cider vinegar in a tasty gummy form. Hi, I'm Patty Post, founder of Checkable Health. I brought this product to market because I wanted the benefits of apple cider vinegar in a delicious, easy to take form. I love our array of customers in the Red River Valley. From Grandma Jill in Barnesville to Chris in West Fargo, the Checkable Health Gummies are for anyone looking to kick up their health game. Buy a 30-day supply at checkablehealth.com and get 10% off your first order. 15% off just for subscribing. That's checkablehealth.com. Your favorite Midwest apple cider vinegar gummy.
For a beautiful look that protects and stays clean, choose Dutch Boy paint from Menards. Now all 11% off. Get quality products with smart technology like mildew-resistant coating, stain shield, and dirt-resistant paint and primer in the award-winning Dutch Boy Twist and Pour containers. Get 11% off everything, including the full line of Dutch Boy paints, now at Menards. Good through June 5th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but actually does something about it. America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now. Get free activation with the code FLAGFAMILY. Switching is easy. Go to patriotmobile.com/flagfamily. patriotmobile.com/flagfamily or call 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT.
It's getting closer to the weekend, and we have your sports fix here on Flag Sports Saturday, here every Saturday morning at 9 on WDAY Radio and The Flag.
Former Moorhead Spud and UND Fighting Hawks standout Otis Weah has hit the transfer portal. Where is he going, and what does it mean for the Missouri Valley Football Conference this upcoming season? With plenty of new faces in the 2022 season, the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks are off to a hot start. Will they be able to continue their success in the month of June? The Minnesota Twins have been decimated with injuries, but still find themselves on top of the American League Central. Will they be able to maintain this momentum as the weather warms up? We can't forget about the NBA Finals and NHL playoffs. Jace, Spencer, and myself will all give our breakdown on who we think will take home the title in both leagues.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg for all our sports coverage here on Flag Sports Saturday on WDAY Radio and The Flag.
Keep your head up. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easy. Keep your head up. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Keep your head up. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easy.
You could let it play a little bit, man. It's a Feel Good Friday. Thanks to Giving Hearts Day. Nothing like a little Tupac to take you into the weekend. Oh man, thank you, Spencer, for the tunes today here on a Feel Good Friday. Again, want to say thank you so much to PetroServe USA, helping you and America fuel better as they sponsor our studio every single day here on the Chris Berg Show. Also, want to remind you, and we kind of touched on this a little bit with Carrie, but maybe you're a parent or a student, whoever, and it's been a tough past couple of years. I think we all know that myself have gone through some trauma, just mental health stuff I had to deal with personally. I think everyone's had that in some way, shape, or form, either personally or with a family member. And if you're someone that maybe feels like, gosh, I just don't feel like myself, maybe depressed, anxiety, whatever it might be, I want to encourage you to go get a free consultation over at Siriceta Fargo. It's like a brain training, and it's very simple. It's non-intrusive. They put these things on your head. They play some sound waves, and it starts to actually balance and rebalance your brain. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. The number over there for a free consultation, 701-566-5231. Again, it's Siriceta Fargo, Cereset Fargo. But again, 701-566-5231. We started the show, we're playing too much. We started the show asking you the question, hey, how could we completely eradicate school shootings in the great United States of America? Thank you for all the phone calls, the emails that have been coming in. I want to get to some of those as well here quickly before we have time, just to touch on some economy stuff. But Jack says this, hey, close all the schools. The internet has made schools obsolete. The only reason people want school is to continue to socially engineer the kids. There are more and more schools going online every day. It's a lot safer for teachers too. Jack, really, really good email. And I think that is a phenomenal way to frame the conversation. I didn't think about that because we all know we talk to so many parents these days that they feel like they're almost sending their kids when they go to, especially like the colleges. Like it is just a I don't know, liberal programming place, right? You send them to this college campus and they're just going to get programmed, if you will. And so that's a great way to frame the conversation. Hey, this is how homeschooling could really make a tremendous impact to the future of America. I personally would love to see the government do something to say, hey, if you're going to homeschool your kid, it's the school choice voucher program. I mean, there's a myriad of ways to put the money into the students rather than the school. Now, I realize this might freak out a lot of teachers, administrators, things of that nature. I'm not saying that you get rid of all teachers. As I mentioned before, I've said this many times, I think teachers should be one of the highest paid professions on the planet. The reason they're not is they have no leverage, right? We pay Will Smith $20 million to go sit on a movie set because he's got what I call leverage. They take that movie, they play it in front of millions of people, they can make millions of dollars. Now you can do the same thing as a teacher. As a teacher, you go online, you become the best in the world at what you do, and you could have a lot of people, meaning millions, billions of people paying you money for your outstanding ability to teach a certain subject. Now you've got leverage, and that is very, very powerful. One quick thing, or I just want to note for you earlier today, because we like to sort of wrap the show up with a little bit about the economy. Earlier today, maybe it was last night even, but Elon Musk, Tesla, now saying they're going to cut 10% of the salary jobs. He's got a really bad feeling about where this economy's going, where the feds are going to continue to raise rates. You see things sort of slowing down a little bit. You had Larry Fink on Bloomberg Television suggesting that he thinks inflation is going to be around for the next couple of years. Larry Fink, if you don't know, is the CEO of BlackRock. I mean, one of the biggest asset managers on the planet, if not the biggest asset manager. And then yesterday, Steve Hallstrom is doing our great show. It's called The Nightly Review. You can watch it every night online at around 7 p.m. But he had the president of Hornbachers on, Matt Lyseth. And I want to share with you, when you think about Joe Biden going over to Saudi Arabia or OPEC to increase oil production rather than just using the Bakken or the Permian Basin, the reason it's so important that we obviously produce more oil, I would say domestically, is because of what Matt talks about here and how oil impacts everything.
Where the rest of the pressure continues to come is everything else. And so one of the biggest drivers, I think, for a business like ours is the price of fuel. You know, crude oil is up. And so so much things touch crude oil. And so every time a truck backs up to our store, that's costing us more money in transportation to get it to us. And then also because of the price of crude oil, packaging. So the plastic that we use in the store when we package our bakery products, or the bags that we put it in, that's costing us more. That's costing the manufacturers more as they're packaging their own products and shipping it off the market. So it's really a combination of what feels like 100 different little things that are really adding up to this, what is unprecedented inflation.
There you have it. Fuel impacts everything. What we want to remind you is maybe you're heading out to the lakes this weekend or just driving home from work or just as you're out and about, please stop into your local PetroServe USA, helping you and America fuel better. You can stop in there, grab some gas. And the beautiful thing about the PetroServe USA is you can always go inside and grab some goodies as well. So would encourage you and invite you to do that. As always, thank you so much for joining us here for the Chris Berg Show. We really, really appreciate you tuning in, calling in, sharing your points of view via email, social media. Have a very blessed weekend. I love you. This is the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth. Talk to you soon.